This is Tecker 911, episode 59, Digital Camera Workflow. I'm Michael Plasmar.
And I'm Mike Dovin.
And today we're going to talk about digital camera workflow. Basically that means everything from picking a camera, taking a picture, and then especially loading it onto your computer and what you do after that.
And sharing and all the fun stuff.
Right.
So the first thing you're probably going to do is pick a camera if you don't already have one. So the first thing you probably see, the big marketing thing anymore is megapixels. More megapixels, the better quality of the image. Basic rule of thumb is don't get anything less than 5 megapixels, and the more megapixels, the more it's going to cost you. So, right. I mean, if you get 5 megapixels, the picture will be good. The more megapixels, it'll be better. But if you don't need anything really professional, and you can save yourself money by not going too much overkill on the megapixels.
And we recommend that you don't get less than 5 as of 2008. But megapixels are not the end-all be-all. The quality of the picture it takes still varies a lot depending on the megapixels. Megapixels is basically how much detail is in your image. Also, the larger the megapixel, the larger the size. So you may want to go back to our digital storage episode to hear about that. Basically when you've picked a model that you're interested in...
You should also look at design.
Yes.
See, now this, you could fit in a pocket.
Right.
This, you can fit in a pocket, but then you can't carry all your other fun gadgets like an MP3 player or an 800 or any of the other stuff I like to carry.
That's a real junker camera.
Pictures are great. I love it, but I don't carry it because it's just too heavy and just too big. Also, some PDAs and cell phones have built-in cameras. This N800 is my favorite. Has a little pop-out camera. It's probably like a megapixel.
Right, they're really
less.
Bad, like the iPhone
really lame
camera stuff. It's really lame. Like this here is a fairly good point-and-shoot cameras, and there are different categories. This is a point-and-shoot, meaning it's small, and this is a fairly good camera. It probably was like $200 to $300. One thing I was going to say is, if you see a camera that you like, type the model number into Google and search for reviews. Type the model number in the word reviews. CNET does good reviews. They're a dedicated site. And they do actual tests with the camera. Like they take pictures of test scenes that they have set up, and then they compare them from camera to camera. That's important to look at.
Yeah, I don't buy any electronics without going on CNET first. Right. It's just a thing.
Also, there's a few things to look at in their reviews. The time it takes to take a digital picture. A lot of cameras are bad where they take a little bit of time to turn them on, and before it can take a first picture. And also, after you push the shutter button, it takes about a second before it actually takes the picture.
My camera is pretty slow. This one, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's test it.
All right. So we'll test here.
So now we're going to test.
So it took, I don't know, oh, the flash was off. So let's take a test with the flash on. How do you turn the flash on?
Should have tested this. There we go. I should have turned it on.
Turned it off. Oh, it's low battery.
Oh, crap. Oh, well.
It's actually another thing you look at. Dovin's
battery.
Here.
Yeah. Now I got to reset the time.
Yeah, AAA, it was out of battery anyway. AAA batteries, which are disposable, bad for the environment. You can also get rechargeable AAA batteries. Like this camera, for example, has a dedicated rechargeable battery. There are pros and cons to this. The pro is that it's rechargeable, first of all. The con is that if this runs out of charge, you have to have the adapter and you have to charge it. And until then, you can't take any
And you
pictures.
also, the thing with the lithium ions they usually are good for about 500 charges. After that, you gotta buy a new one. And if you buy a camera sort of like this on clearance,
right,
and you have a lithium ion, good luck finding a battery. The best way to check is eBay. See our AB episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's even cheaper just to buy a new camera.
Right.
So that's where our friends at the AAA's come in handy.
If you buy the camera new, I think you won't charge and recharge the battery 500 times. The camera would be obsolete by the time you do that. So that's not really a worry to me. It's just if the battery is low and you have to go somewhere and take pictures, you'd be out of luck. Whereas this, you can just stick in new batteries that you can buy in any store and get rechargeable AAA batteries. That way,
save the environment.
Yeah, you get the best of both the rechargeable.
I'm kind of a bad example.
And you can put in those, when you need to. Digital optical zoom. You want to talk about that?
Okay. So optical zoom is what this camera has. As you can see,
no, that is digital zoom only, I believe.
Oh, digital, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry. This has digital zoom, which means, in other words, it's like when you're on a computer and you're looking at a picture and it just zooms it in.
Right.
So, in other words, when you use digital zoom, you can get like probably 30x digital zoom for dirt cheap. But the picture quality is going to be terrible.
Digital zoom is just basically a marketing trick. Basically, it just takes the image it's going to take and just cuts away the side and makes whatever's left in the middle appear bigger. So you lose quality, and these megapixels that you have would go out the window. Basically, digital zoom is just a marketing trick. Ignore it. What you really want to look for is optical zoom. Like this one, you see here, it actually moves the thing inside. And there are some cameras that even have optical zoom inside its actual body, so you won't see it come out like this. There's only like one or two that have that. But really, optical zoom is best because then it's really using the optic lens to zoom in, and you're getting the full quality image when you zoom in. So digital zoom, just forget about it. Doesn't matter. Cheap marketing trick.
Don't fall for it.
Right.
The other things you want to look for is viewfinder.
Right.
Most cameras, even the old film cameras that my parents still use, have this kind of viewfinder where you just look through it and take a picture.
Actually, that's disappearing now on the newer cameras. For example, this doesn't have a conventional viewfinder. My old digital camera did have a conventional viewfinder. It was off, which I didn't like. So most cameras now all have this LCD, and really, I find that fine.
Well, the LCDs, when I first got this camera, I'll have to say, I had some problems using the LCD to line up the image right.
Your LCD is also really, really small. That's another thing to look at. Like
LCD size.
His LCD size here is really small. Mine is really big compared. So even when I have like the camera up here to take a picture, I can still see what I'm going to take really good, better than the viewfinder. So I personally prefer a large LCD screen and no optical viewfinder. Some people really like the optical viewfinder if you're really old school.
I still like the viewfinder. I like using this.
I don't like it.
The other thing you got to look at is memory cards.
Right.
Because these things, usually you use a memory card. I mean, there used to be ones that would burn straight to a CD or DVD or a floppy.
Right.
Who uses floppies?
I don't like that. I really like the memory cards. And we talked about memory cards in episode 21, digital storage.
And the different kinds like the SD or the X something or other from Olympus has their ridiculous formats like Sony does.
So basically,
go with SD or mini SD or micro.
Every camera has some sort of SD, and most have the full size SD, except Olympus, which has XD, and Sony, which has their memory stick. And even those two companies are starting to put in SD card slots as well. Also, some high-end cameras that use compact flash. But basically, everything is pretty much standardizing on SD. I love SD because I have like 5 of these cards, and they're the cheapest. Like, I bought these cards for $7 on an online clearance site. You'd probably end up paying $20 to $30 for like.
Anymore, you can get like 4 gigs for $30.
Right.
Or even less, probably.
At a conventional store, and even less if you
or
buy
Newegg or any online store.
And the brand of SD card doesn't matter. But really, I'd always buy a camera with an SD card. Some cameras have internal memory, and that's nice for if you don't have a memory card with you. My old camera had 16 megabytes of internal memory.
That's what this does. This has 16 megabytes, so I have long slot.
And that's enough to take like 5 or 7 photos.
So then I have this is just 256, because I don't take many pictures, so I just carry a 256
But internal memory
inside.
is nice because this camera actually doesn't have internal memory. So if I forget to put a memory card in, it's totally useless. So that way, if it had internal memory, at least I could take like 5 to 7 pictures. But without the memory card, this thing is totally useless. Also, one thing to look at, SDHC is memory cards over 2 gigabytes. Or over 4 gigabytes, anywhere there for large capacity. Pretty much every camera sold nowadays with SD comes with SDHC, but you want to make sure that if you buy a 2 or 4 gigabyte or larger SD card that it says SDHC, think larger than 4 gigabytes and larger, it's always an SDHC, so you have to get a camera that supports SDHC.
And the other thing you should look at is what format does your camera take the picture in? Because there's JPEGs, there's PNGs, bitmaps. I mean, those ones are raw.
Basically, cameras.
Those are basically interchangeable, but raw is different because raw are basically the highest quality pictures. This is what professional photographers would use, is raw.
Right.
And people who professional photographers would, first of all, probably have to carry like tons of these little memory cards around.
Right. Raw photos are much larger because they don't have any sort of pre-processing already done with them. Basically, everything except the high-end cameras takes pictures in JPEG, which does processing and compression. Only the really high-end cameras use RAW, and if you're shooting in RAW, that's probably above the scope of this particular video. So we're just going to assume that you shoot in JPEG like everything else. Another thing to look for is flash, how good the flash is, and low light performance. For example, this camera, the Panasonic DMC FX07, is really bad in twilight situations, like restaurants. It's really bad, and I've tried like basically every setting to try and get it to work. Also, higher end cameras give you more settings you can choose from. Lower end ones are more automatic. Like that one has 0 settings. This one has a few settings.
It does have a few settings, and the flash on this is pretty powerful.
Right.
Like if I take a picture of myself with this, I'm usually blinded for a couple seconds.
Right.
Which means I might not be doing it right, but I usually hurt my eyes when I take a picture of myself with this thing.
For example, this camera has a histogram available, and you can find out more about histograms. We'll talk about them in another episode. Turn the exposure up and down and set a timer. These are all little features that you have.
I think those features this one has too, but once again, you're better off getting one with an optical zoom.
Yeah. So overall, this is like a type of camera I think I'd recommend for people who have who have pretty average needs.
There's also one level above. It's called digital SLR. They're much bigger.
Right.
They have more optical zoom, and there's lenses and
they're
much more for the pro who's going to be using RAW instead of the little JPEGs. But for an average user, JPEGs and point and shoot is great. SLR only if you're really into your photos and you really love taking photos.
And yeah, they have interchangeable.
And you like to spend your Friday nights tagging Flickr photos.
Right. If you're really into photography. But I think this is pretty good for normal people. It also has an anti-shake feature. I haven't really found that useful, but I haven't done testing on it. That's why you read the reviews. So let's say you've selected this camera as your camera of choice. So each camera has a different way of turning on and way of doing zoom and stuff. And I'm not going to go into how each camera does it because each camera is different. But basically, you take the picture.
Take a picture of Reed, who's supposed to be on the camera.
Right. Take a picture of Reed, who's running camera here. And one trick for cameras is if you push a lot of cameras, if you push the button down halfway, you get it in lock it on focus, and that way when you push the button down the rest of the way, it takes the picture instantly. So that's one tip. Hold the button down halfway, locks it on focus, and then all the way down when you want to take the picture. And then most cameras take it instantly instead of the 1 second at time it takes to take the picture. So we've taken the picture here. We can go put it into play mode. In this camera, you have to scroll the dial, and then you're in play mode. And you can zoom in and zoom out on the particular picture and review it. So we've taken the pictures. Now, how do we get it off the camera? A lot of cameras come with cords where you can connect it to the computer, and that's a good choice. You just connect it to your computer.
With USB, usually. Sometimes FireWire.
Right. You might want to install the software that came with your camera. A lot of times that'll also install photo managing software, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you want to at least get the basic driver. If you don't want the software, I think it's pretty safe just to connect it.
They'll probably pop up as like a thumb drive.
Right.
So it'll pop up a folder with pictures. Usually it's DCIM is the picture folder.
They're in a folder, right.
And then you go in, and sometimes they're sorted out by when they were taken, sometimes not. Just got to go through all of them.
But what we're going to recommend is you get some photo managing software. We'll talk about that in a minute. An alternative to actually hooking the camera to your computer, which I find easier, is to take the memory card out and plug it into either a memory card reader. These are 2 memory card readers. One of them is mine, one of them is Reed's. You plug into your computer. Most computers nowadays come with at least an SD card port. For example, my new laptop here comes with an SD card slot right here up front, so you just put that in. The desktop I bought last year from HP comes with a memory card slot. Basically,
my laptop does, and Reed's pointing out that Macs do not, and that's true. Macs do not come with a built-in. You can always buy a USB one. This is $10 or less.
Right. Yeah, $10.
And it usually does not. Store. It does more than SD. Usually, it does like the ones I have probably has like 11 different formats you can put into it.
Right. If you get that, this is just a basic plain old SD thing. I bought it for like $10 off eBay like 3 years ago. So if your computer doesn't have an SD card slot, then you can do this. I prefer this than hooking the camera up to your computer. Partly because this is more portable than a cord. Ever
since I got my computer that has a built-in memory card reader, I've yet to touch the cable that came with this camera because it's USB to USB, so I never use it. It sits in a drawer and gets dust on it.
So now for importing these photos to your computer, you can just, when you plug this in, this shows up as a removable hard drive or like a thumb drive. You can just then copy those pictures onto like a folder on your hard drive. But the easiest to do is use photo managing software. Photo managing software, some examples of it are in Windows Vista, there's the Windows Vista Photo Gallery. There's Photoshop Elements.
iPhoto on the Mac side.
iPhoto on the Mac. Photoshop Elements is a commercial product. It's somewhere between $50 and $100. And then there's what we're going to show you today is Picasa, which is free, available for Windows. Linux is in testing phase, and Mac is coming soon. And Picasa is put out by Google. But yeah, as we said, you could use Windows Vista Photo Gallery it comes with Windows Vista Home Premium or Ultimate, or you can buy Photoshop Elements. All of them are basically the same and pretty much offer all the features you need, which is why I like Picasa. It's free. So this is the Picasa thing. I've just installed it, and what it does is it imports the photos that you have on your computer already.
These are all screenshots from former shows.
Screenshots from former
videos.
Episodes. Yeah, our videos.
Oh, we forgot to mention some digital cameras. They might not be great, but some of them do video. They have a video mode, so in other words, instead of taking a picture only one. Because video is really just a bunch of pictures taken simultaneously. Not great video, but I mean, if you see something really cool like a lion at a zoo and you want to take a picture of it feeding its cubs,
generally,
then, I mean, it would work.
It's okay for short videos, so you probably still want a camcorder.
A YouTube video or Facebook video or
if you're doing like a long format video, like longer than 2 minutes, then you want a camcorder like we're recording this show on. But if you just want like 10, 30-second video clips, or you want to, you don't really care about the quality, you're just uploading to YouTube, this camera here or something like that is a great choice for video. And the photo managing software also does video. So after we've installed the software, and we're going to now plug the memory card and into the computer. Alright, so I've inserted the SD card reader and SD card into my computer in the back here, and this window popped up from Windows. So we want to copy pictures and view them using Picasa, so we'll hit OK, and now it'll launch the Picasa import wizard. It might do this also, just skip right to the step automatically, but after you install Picasa and you insert an SD card or hook up your camera too, it'll come up with this window right here, hopefully. Here we go, So this is our import wizard. So we see here is our import tray. These are the 4 pictures I took. We can also jump to a specific device up here if I want to, but this one's fine. I can preview the photos, and then I could select specific ones I want to import. but I'm just going to hit import all right here, and it's going to tell us
Put them
we're
in
going
a
to enter in
folder.
a folder name for this. So this is going to be Tecker 911 test. I recommend entering, what the subject of these photos. You can enter in the place it was taken and a description, and I'm going to wipe the card afterwards. Since they're on my computer now, and yes, I do want to wipe the card after I'm done. So you see here, that was fast. It's imported these 4 pictures here. It's having trouble scrolling, so that's why it's showing more than 4.
There's Reed posing.
So now these 4 pictures are on our computer. They're in these folders called Tecker 911 test, and we can do several things to it. So I have a folder here. I could add other folders. So this folder I took earlier today was a screenshot, so I can add that to my Tecker 911 test folder and move it there. It's in folders by year too. If you don't see the import wizard, you can click here to import. You can click here to watch a slideshow. So if I select this album, I can go slideshow, and then it shows me a slideshow of these pictures that I just took.
There's Reed manning the camera so well.
So you see, this is a lot more useful than just keeping the pictures on your computer. You can also go timeline here. I don't know
So
what this is done. Oh,
we'll
this is
put
here,
them
a
chronologically,
timeline.
probably.
Right here, we see the timeline, and we can scroll by day, and
Whoa.
it does this cool little animation here. So once you have a lot of photos, of course, that's a lot more useful. And then we can, I guess, create a GIF CD with built-in slideshow if we wanted to. So we have these pictures here. I guess I could go GIF CD, make a slideshow. That's just our firewall here. I choose what drive, hit OK, and then it'll burn the disk. So that's easy.
Reach for you have pictures you want to mail out to people.
Right. If you want to mail out DVDs.
Although email works well too.
You see down here we can do, on some editors you can do some simple editing. Yeah, if you double click on the picture in Picasa Web Album, you can do simple editing like crop,
I'm feeling lucky.
straight, red eye. Yeah, I'm feeling lucky is one-click color adjustments. You see that color adjustment was pretty good, so we don't have to do I'm feeling lucky on that.
And there's no people in this.
Right. Yeah, so and then we can do tuning. You can play around with these to fix highlighting if you want to make it brighter, if you want to make the shadows darker, and then you can do fun effects like tint.
Black and white.
So with Picasa, they have this bar down here, which is a bunch of things that you can do with your pictures, like email them, print them, order prints from a professional printer, blog it, add it to a photo collage, or export it into a folder on your hard drive. So I think these are pretty self-explanatory. The last thing we want to talk about is what if you want to share your photos with people around the world that aren't on your computer, either your family privately or your share it with the world, let everyone see your pictures. So Google has this thing called Picasa Web Albums. We happen to like Flickr better, and we talked about Flickr in a previous episode. There are also things like Kodak Gallery, Snapfish. I think OPhoto is one of them. I think that might have been renamed to something. I think Kodak Gallery is
Photo Bucket. There's
Photo Bucket. There's a bunch.
everybody has a photo gallery.
Right. Our favorite is Flickr, and if you have Picasa and you want to use Flickr, they have Picasa to Flickr, and that adds an easy button down here. I guess replaces the web album button or something like that. Or they add a Flickr button, easy access to Flickr. But Flickr also has a really good uploader. So we talked about Flickr in depth in the Flickr episode. But basically, Flickr is a photo sharing website. It's my personal favorite.
I'd use it if I took pictures. But
you need a better camera.
yeah,
that thing's.
Hey, it's 5 megapixels. I just
the megapixels, though, they don't matter. Like, this is a piece of junk. The megapixels
Thanks, Plaz.
don't really matter. It's things like screen size and the image quality and ease of use and stuff that really matter. Not that. And here you see I can just go upload pictures and videos.
Don't they also have a program you can install and upload to?
Right. We just talked about that. But, I like this because you go upload, and then you can go to the My Pictures where I stored these pictures. And this works with any system. So if you're using Picasa, if you're using Web Albums, if you're just using Windows Explorer, if you're using Photo Gallery, basically you go to Flickr, you create an account, and then you click on the upload link, or here, and then upload photos and videos. Flickr also supports photos and videos up to a certain length. So
and also, just so you know, we probably mentioned it on the Flickr episode, if you have a Yahoo account, you already have a Flickr account. You just don't know it.
Right. Yeah, Yahoo is part of Flickr, so those two are linked.
Flickr's part of Yahoo.
Yeah. And a Flickr account, a basic account is free, and you can upload, I think, 100 megabytes of photos a month. And if you want to upload more, you can get a pro account for $25 a year, I believe it is. So we go to the upload page, we go to My Pictures, and then we pick that folder that I had. And these are the pictures from today. I click open, and then I can choose if I want them to be public, visible to anyone, or private, visible only to people that I've invited to Flickr as my contacts, as friends or family. I'm going to make these public, so I want everyone to be able to see these. And then here under contacts, I'm just going to open that in a new window while this uploads. You see here I can invite my friends to be Flickr contacts, type in their email address, and then I can invite them as friends or family, so that way they can view my private photos, any photos that I've uploaded and set to private. So hopefully this is giving you an idea of where to start with digital cameras.
And what not to buy.
Right, what not to buy, what to buy, something like this, how you get the pictures onto your computer, either SD card or use the cord that came with your camera. Photo managing software. What we didn't mention is actually most cameras come with photo managing software. HP has some, Kodak has one, but I like the third-party ones like Vista Photo Gallery, Picasa, or Photoshop Elements. If you don't want to spend any money, I think Picasa 2 is your best choice.
So you install it. It's
right.
Really nice.
If you install that, free to install, free to use. You just import the picture. Just click the import, or it'll come up automatically when you plug in your camera or card. Pick the pictures you want to import. Have it delete the pictures off your memory card. Then they're in here on your computer. You can do a bunch of things like email, order professional prints, print it on your printer at home.
Put it on Flickr, all that fun
make
stuff.
Slideshows. And then to share them with people around the world, you can use a website like Picasa Web Albums, Flickr.
Is Web Albums free?
I believe Web Albums is free up to a certain amount. And you have to have a Google account, etc. So, I believe it's free up to a certain limit. And Flickr is the same. It's free up to a certain limit.
And also the nice thing about Picasa is, say if you decide, I'm going to buy a new digital camera, you don't have to learn how to use another piece of software.
Right.
Just collaborate it right into your Picasa, and all your old pictures are already there.
Right.
And you're all set up and comfortable.
Picasa doesn't care what camera you have. So say if I lose this camera tomorrow, and he
decides to buy a nice new one.
Right, like that one or something, and then I get a new camera, I just can continue to use my existing memory card reader and just plug it into Picasa, and it won't even care that I've changed cameras. So Picasa's nice, right, because it's not camera specific. So hopefully this has been a good introduction for you. I'm Michael Plasmar.
And I'm Mike Dovin. Enjoy taking your digital photos.
To watch this episode again, or to watch any of our prior episodes, you can visit our website, 911.tecker.net, T-E-C-K-E-R. And on the website we have our prior episodes, as well as you can view them directly on the website, or you can download them in WMV for Windows, iPod or QuickTime format for your iPod, or if you have iTunes installed, an MP3 audio-only version of the show, and a WMV HD version of the show, which you can download via BitTorrent that looks really, really clear and in pristine HD quality. And instructions for downloading via BitTorrent are also on the site. On the right-hand side, we have more information about us and about each of the members of the show, as well as quick links to all of our prior episodes and links to the RSS feeds for each of the formats that we release the show in, and links to subscribe to the show in iTunes if you have an iPod, an Apple TV, an iPhone, any Apple device. You can click on that link in either video or audio format. You can also, in iTunes, search for Tecker, T-E-C-K-E-R, in the iTunes store, and then you can find our podcast that you can subscribe to free. Also, if you do not have an iPod, if you have like a generic MP3 player, then you can use you can still listen to our show if on our website you subscribe to this MP3 audio version in a feed catcher, in a podcatcher like Juice. You can search for Juice on Google, download that program, and then it'll load the shows automatically onto your generic MP3 playing device. If you have any questions about the show or about technology, you can send us an email at 911@tecker.net, or you can leave us a voicemail at 610-572-2847. Thank you so much for watching Tecker 911.